So welcome to Online Drawing 2, Class 2. Today we'll be using graphite again. Here is the ebony pencil and the number 2 pencil that we'll be using. I'm also recommending the use of smudge sticks, a pink eraser, and if you have one, a kneaded eraser, which you can pick up small amounts of gray with. We're working on a still life today that includes organic shapes. I also refer to them as curvilinear shapes. Sometimes they're harder to draw because they are unpredictable. So the line drawing is going to be important here so that you can see how to come up with shapes that are believable for the objects that you're working with. My objects are eggs, a tomato, a bowl, and a different kind of cream pitcher than I used last week. I'm going to start by placing a horizon line about 3/4 of the way up. I may end up moving that, but it's a good starting point. Once again, as before, I draw my object that's large first, and then I'll follow up with the smaller ones. So that's my line drawing. Here is my horizon line. And then I'm going to mark out the highlights so I don't lose them. And there's a reflected light down at the bottom here. After I do my highlights, I mark my shadows. This is a reflected light here because the light is bouncing off the table. It's reflecting back into the picture. This is a highlight, which is surrounded by dark. This sort of has like a peace sign in the middle where the dark is, though this is the brighter side. And don't forget your light edges around the tops of things. There's a bit of a reflected light down here and down here. Everything from this point down is going to be darker. The greatest value range goes from this point up on the tomato. And the two darkest parts on my bowl, one is in the foreground here, which is why the highlight shows up. And this portion right through here. Okay, so now I have my values worked out, some cast shadows. I see I didn't put in my cast shadow here. There's going to be one at the base of the bowl. There's also a cast shadow right at the edge of my napkin, so I'm just going to remind myself that for later. Now I'm going to go in with my ebony pencil and darken the next level of darks, which is down here. I'm going right up to the line, absorbing the line. I need the top edge of my handle and my rim to stand out, so I'm going to put the dark side of what's behind it. Just a slight reflected light on the underside of this egg. So do look for those, because if there's a reflected light, it gives a different kind of definition to where it touches the table. My dark is right under the reflected light. I'm going to start my smudge stick. I may end up having to blot away some of the dark in the tomato because it's up against a dark behind it. So I'm just going to do that. It leaves the earlier lines behind. I'm going to correct the ellipse here and bring it in on this side and out over here, in, and out. Because sometimes your drawing shifts while you're filling in, so you want to make sure that those ellipses remain constant. So it looks like we're getting pretty close to being done. So I just want to make sure that all of my darks are right under my objects to push my objects forward. And even some of those edges that we already went over need a little bit more push. Like this. And this. All right, so tomato, 2 eggs, a bowl, and a pitcher, but yours will be whatever you collected, and you will create a curvilinear or organic shape drawing of your objects. Have fun.